Master Chief on PlayStation, 25 years in the making, and now there's a lot being said about this game right now, but there's one issue nobody is touching, and there are things that you need to know before you spend $50 that you are getting completely glossed over. First off is the combat. Bungie built Halo's combat on one idea they call the 30 seconds of fun. Every encounter is a loop. Enter a space, read the enemy setup, make tactical decisions, execute, and move forward. The variables change every time. Different enemies, different terrain, and different weapons available. What makes it extraordinary is the decisions generally matter rather than your reflexes. The Covenant enemy roster is one of the best designed in the shooter's history. Grunts panic and break out their elite officer. Jackals hide behind directional shields with the specific weak point that you have to find and hit correctly. Elites have a regenerating shields that they can actively manage, retreating under fire to recharge, flanking when you reposition, and dodging grenades in ways that feel deliberate. Hunters require specific weapons and positioning and come in pairs to coordinate against you. Even hardcore veterans with real frustration about the changes are saying point blank that shooting has literally never felt better, and the combat overhaul shocked them. Whatever your feelings about everything else in this game is, the combat is not where it falls short at all. The enemy count on screen has been noticeably increased, more Covenant per encounter, AI behavior has been preserved from the original, enemies flank, retreat, dodge grenades, and commander vehicles. The cast feels reactive rather than scripted. The weapon count has grown from 9 original weapons to 17 total, 8 new weapons from later Halo games integrated, 4 in the prequel missions and 4 in the main campaign. SMG, alien needle rifle, energy sword, battle rifle, they fit the world rather than feeling dropped in from the outside. Vehicle hijacking is new to this version. The Warhawk handles better than it ever has. The Wrath tank, which you can now commander, is the standout new addition. Heavy armor, devastating firepower, and enemies constantly trying to reclaim it, keeps you mobile and strategic while making you feel like an overwhelming force on the battlefield. Sprint and ADS is both in the game now. Both work better than critics expected and worse than vendors would admit. Sprint makes corridor section fast to move through while changing the cadence of open combat in ways veterans will feel in their hands immediately. The speed limit skull turns sprint off for players who want the original movement feel. Health regeneration has changed. The original required medikit pickups to restore your underlying health after your shield broke. Campaign Evolve makes health regenerations fully over time. This removes a resource management layer veterans will notice and new players will accept as a standard. The checkpoint system has an inconsistency problem. The logic for what triggers a checkpoint is not always clear, and setbacks can be frustrating arbitrary. Some lengthy fights send you all the way back to the start, while earlier fights only cost you a few seconds. Not consistent, but annoying enough to flag. As for the gameplay system, the skull system now has 42 modifiers. Some make the game harder, nerfing your shields, removing your radar, and making all the enemies tougher. Some are unhinged. Grunt Birthday Party turns headshots into confetti explosions. The Floor's Lava Skull is exclusive to the campaign Evolve and does exactly what it sounds like. There is a third-person skull that switches the entire game to third-person and is actually amazing. The remake model is deeper than it sounds. It lets you replay any mission with alter enemy placement, alter weapon placement, and both forcing you to abandon the muscle memory you built from years with the original. What you thought was a sniping position might not have an elite there where you expected cover. The Armistice modifier is the standout option nobody is explaining properly. It removes all conflict between enemy factions. In the original Halo, one of the biggest tactical tools available was letting the Covenant and the Flood fight each other while you picked off survivors. Armistice takes that completely off the table and forces you to engage every hostile directly. It fundamentally changes how you approach familiar missions and make the same level feel generally different on sequent runs. If you're a PlayStation player coming in fresh, the year is 2552. You are the Master Chief, a super soldier in the powered Mountaineer armor. You are partnered with an AI named Cortana who lives in the chip in your helmet. Your ship is ambushed by the Covenant, a theoretic alien alliance, and dropped near a mysterious ring-shaped structure. You crash land, you fight to survive, and you discover the ring is a weapon of the most incomprehensible scale with something sleeping underneath it. Bungie designed this to feel methodical rather than just narrative. The Gregorian chant when you boot the game, the ring hovering back towards itself in the sky above you, the ancient Forerunner architecture that feels like it predates the current conflict by tens of thousands of years. That sensation that you stumbled into something older than yourself is completely intact in the campaign Evolve. The Chief Cortana dynamic is the best thing that the remake preserves. The new cinematics finally gives it room to breathe. Cortana is sharp, quick, and carries a warmth that Chief's conditioning prevents him from expressing. Their relationship is an emotional core of the franchise, and it lands here. The 3 prequel missions, Operation Meteorite, follow the Chief and Sergeant Johnson 1 year before the main campaign. Play them first, and by the time the main campaign starts, you will understand who Johnson is, why humanity is losing, and what the Chief carries into that ring. For the first time, you see that the Chief has a sense of humor and is fiercely loyal to the people he cares about, aspects of the original game saves for Halo 2. The prequel missions give new players a runway that makes everything hit harder. 2 new characters introduced into the prequel, a Covenant Prophet and a human fire team leader, are the weakest writing in the package. Sci-fi tropes without earning enough screen time to become more than that. There is a dialogue problem. The most discussed issue in the hardcore Halo community is the one getting dodged. The dialogue and the tone significantly changed. Not just re-recorded with the same script, but actually rewritten in ways that shift the characters of the game. The most specific example, at the start of the original, Captain Keyes hands you a pistol he says is not loaded. You've got to find the ammo on the way. Clean, direct Halo fashion. In Campaign Evolved, he now says, "My handgun in case I die, you can give it to my daughter." That line is not bad in isolation, but it represents a pattern throughout the game where straightforward moments have been made more emotional and more quippy in ways that shift the tone. The biggest issue is Master Chief himself. In the original, Master Chief barely talks. The silence was deliberate. It made him feel like a weapon rather than a person, a super soldier sealed in his armor who communicates through action. In Campaign Evolve, especially in the prequel mission, the Chief talks a lot. He makes jokes. There is a Marvel-style humor layered throughout the dialogue that did not exist in the original, and hardcore fans find it generally painful. Some supporting voice performances in the new content sits in the uncanny valley. Certain performances straight up sound like AI generated. The principal cast is back, but 25 years between these performances in the original means some inflictions land differently from what veteran muscle memory expect. You will be inside the line you know, and the game will deliver a slightly different version of it. For veteran players, this surfaces a lot, but at least now you know what you're walking into. As for the visuals, when Campaign Evolve looks good, it looks genuinely impressive. Silent Cartographer's Breach in fading light, assault on the control room with the ring curving overhead, 2 Betrayal snow valleys with Covenant ships breaking the skyline. The new lighting system does things the original could never achieve, and the increased environment density makes the outdoor section feel alive. The indoor sections are where the split happens. Stark Corridors were a deliberate design choice. Halo the Ring is an ancient structure, not a resort. Campaign Evolve preserves that philosophy, which means the contrast between the gorgeous outdoors and the flat indoors is real and kinda jarring. The library specifically divides people, and some find the new atmosphere and lighting a meaningful improvement. Others call it a different level without being a better one, still a snoozer regardless of the new coat of paint. There is a glossy quality to some surfaces that read differently from the original grounded aesthetic. Human character models have the puffy Unreal Engine 5 face problem that persists across multiple UE5 titles. Veteran players will notice specific faces look different from their memories. New players will not register it as unusual. PS5 Pro in performance mode holds at 60 FPS for most of the campaign, with occasional dips in explosion-heavy sections. Quality mode locks to 30 FPS, which is for the first-person shooter, feels unresponsive. Performance mode is the right call. Base PS5 has a dynamic frame rate object slowdown in hectic sections that is real and consistent rather than occasional. PC is the best version of the game for players with the compatible hardware. The co-op situation at launch is rough. Reports from pro Halo squads running the entire Legendary campaign and 4-player co-op are coming in with 11 crashes. 11 mid-mission disconnects that wipe checkpoint progression throughout the run. The most significant confirmed bug is the soft lock in the 2 Betrayals mission. Destroy the Banshee after the generator and you cannot finish the level. It also costs you 2 collectible skull unlocks in the same run. This is the single most reported progression blocker from early access. PC players on specific AMD driver experience crashes when skipping the intro cinematic in the maw. The game requires requires the day one patch installed before it will run at all. Solo players on Xbox Series X and PS5 Pro in performance mode are reporting a largely stable experience, but for 4-player co-op at launch needs some time. Give it 2 weeks for patches before making that your primary experience. Halo multiplayer is not just a feature, it's historically the reason the franchise became a cultural phenomenon. Halo CE system Link has Halo 2 Xbox Live implementation made online console gaming mainstream. When people say Halo is multiplayer, they are being historically accurate. Campaign Evolved has 0 competitive player versus player, and the fact that it launched on PlayStation without Halo Infinite simultaneously available means first-time PlayStation Halo players are getting a campaign-only introduction to a franchise whose mostly legendary feature they literally cannot access on their own console right now. Halo Infinite on PS5 has no announcement timeline. So who is this game for? For a PS5 player who's never played Halo? Yes, buy it. Play Operation Meteorite first and then the main campaign. The story is excellent, the campaign is immediately intuitive and generally great. Just understand that you're getting the campaign and none of the legendary multiplayer the franchise has built its name on. And wait 2 weeks before jumping into co-op. Xbox and PC players with Game Pass, play it immediately, it'll cost you nothing extra. The visual overhaul is real and the new missions adds a genuinely great content. For returning fans without Game Pass, choosing between this and Master Chief Collection, if visual fidelity and new story content matters to you, Campaign Evolved delivers. If you want competitive multiplayer and maximal campaign volume, the Master Chief Collection is the better value. For hardcore Halo purists, the dialogue changes are real and specific and they surface constantly. The chatty Master Chief, the tone shifts, and the changed lines, go in knowing that there exists. Anyone playing for 4-player co-op at launch, wait a couple weeks, I really recommend it. Halo Campaign Evolved is a confident, frequently impressive remake of one of the most important first-person shooters ever made. The combat is generally the best it's ever felt in the campaign. The outdoor visual transformation is real. The soundtrack remix is excellent. The sequel missions added the meaningful story content. The remix in the Skull system create a general replay depth, and the cross-play co-op opening Halo to PlayStation for the first time is a real milestone. The problems are real too. The dialogue and the tone changes affect the character of the game in specific ways that are getting glossed over. The launch co-op situation needs time to stabilize. No multiplayer leaves PS5 newcomers with an incomplete picture of what made the franchise legendary. And the indoor visual identity does not always match the quality of the outdoor environments. That's it for the full Halo Campaign Evolved review. 3 groups that I want to hear from in the comments: the PS5 players experiencing this franchise for the very first time, returning veterans who have been here since 2001, and the hardcore purists who already clocked in the dialogue changes and have strong feelings about it. Drop it below your thoughts and subscribe if this is the kind of content that you've been looking for. New videos here constantly. Come through on Twitch. I'm streaming every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 9:30 Eastern time. Link is in the description. Come hang out. But until next time, stay safe, stay fast, and stay lethal. And as always, stay alpha.